Greetings, this is Nancy Anahita Aurora. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is July 7th, 2018, and I'm doing readings for the rising of Sothis. It's such an incredible time of year, and in the Egyptian tradition it was it symbolized the beginning of the Egyptian New Year. So the rising of Sothis, or Sirius, the star Sirius, is really important because it's a very high vibrational spiritual energy, and it's really energizing us right at this window between the 3rd and the 7th of July. But it's still going to play out for us for a while in terms of what's getting downloaded, what's getting activated. And why this star is significant is because it really is embodying the tradition of the divine masculine and feminine that we often talk about, and it is part of the mystery tradition of the Egyptian tradition, and we often see that with Isis and Osiris, although there are many Egyptian deities that embody the masculine and feminine. So the star Sirius is considered the soul of Isis, and at the rising of Sirius, the Nile flooded, and that was fertilizing the land of Chem, and so that fertilizing with those waters was considered symbolically the reunion between Isis and Osiris, and mythologically the waters represent Isis, the tears of Isis, the tears of her sister Nephthys, that grieving, that mourning for the loss of Osiris. Is how those waters are connected. So it's the Holy Feminine, the waters of life, that is connected in all its symbology. And in the story, Osiris is murdered by his brother Set. He's dismembered, the body parts strewn in the desert. Isis and Nephthys go into the desert. They are crying, they are mourning the loss of Osiris, and they put his body parts back together and remember him. And in so doing, Isis is able to impregnate herself and give birth to their child, Horus, who is the son of the sun. And so what that is about is, that the masculine and the feminine, when they come together and when they come into union, it is the new consciousness, it's the new life, it is the new level of spiritual evolution that has come through crisis, through initiation, where love triumphs over evil. So that's really what that's about, and it's an incredible story. And we are all, as men and women, we are all the living Horus. So we are all the children of Isis and Osiris. So, especially this time of year, they're here to remind us of that, and that they are here to support us in spirit as we're going through these transformational times. The reading I have laid out, I have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual sort of influences that are being affected by the waters of life, what is being released, what is being cleansed. So I'm going to take a look at that. Then we're going to look at what's getting downloaded through spirit, through Sirius, what is the DNA activations there. And then we're going to look at combining these energies, the unification of the divine masculine and feminine. How does that manifest in our lives? What's coming through in the future as a result of this work that we're doing now? So, air signs. The first card I got for you was the Two of Pentacles, and this is the Tarot of the Old Path, in case you're interested. And the feeling I got with that card, and that's, again, it's looking at the physical, and of course it's the Two of Pentacles, this feeling of balancing. I got this feeling, and this is a general reading, so it's not going to apply to everyone, but I just had this feeling that for some of you air signs, there is a real almost overly trying to adapt for the sake of other people, and to in terms of relationships or work or career or home life, but just in very, very real, concrete ways, that there's a lot of trying to be so adaptable that you're kind of losing that balance within yourself for yourself, losing the ability to prioritize yourself. So when I did some clarification cards, this is Hanson Roberts, I got the Emperor, and I feel like what's being cleansed is the tendency to like be overly adaptable, and to get more clear about being in your own authority and doing what's right for you in your day-to-day world, and just how you live your life. And I also see that this is one of the other clarification cards here, the Sun card. This is pretty significant, that through getting more clarity and committing to the things that you need to, that are right for you, that it's actually going to be affecting your physical health for the better. It's actually going to be energizing and healing you. It could actually be healing some chronic conditions I'm getting psychically, that for some of you there are actual chronic conditions, physical health manifestations that are going to improve as you prioritize your needs over the needs of others, and not do quite so much juggling to accommodate other people, but to just directly focus on what you need to do to take care of yourself, to put yourself first. So looking at the next card, this is for your emotions, and we've got the King of Wands. And what I got for that, it feels like for some of you it's really hard for you to access your feelings. There's a tendency to want to intellectualize feelings to a degree, and to kind of push through them, to be a kind of, bringing creative solutions and action, when in fact emotions are something we should really sit with and be more receptive to, and kind of receive, surrender to a process. And it is a process, that has a starting point and an ending point. But I feel that for a number of you air signs, that it's just very, it's the nature of air signs. Air is a very mental sign, and it's what you came to really learn and experience and express in this lifetime. But even so, you still need to have this capacity to access your emotional life, learn from it, heal and transform, and incorporate it. And so it feels like this is part of what's being sort of addressed, cleansed, washed away for you, is the blocks to your emotional intelligence, your emotional IQ. And the clarifying card for that was the Page of Swords. So there is a newer consciousness that's coming through for you right now, that is being able to discern this tendency you have to kind of be pushing through the feelings and trying to fix things without actually sitting with the feelings, and letting them unfold and inform you. So I feel like there's another part of your maybe personality, or it's a newly emerging kind of consciousness, because it's the Page. So this is a less developed ability, but there is an ability to discern what is feeling, and that the old ways don't work in how you work with feelings. There's some more discernment around that. the next card that we have is for the mental, for the mind, you know, for the mental function. And again, this is the Ten of Wands. And this is really the end of there's a realization that there's an end of a cycle here of, you know, how you've dealt with problems in the past, or how you've worked with problems in the past, how you've thought things through, your sort of creative problem-solving abilities. They are feeling like these strategies are old, and they're not as effective as they used to be. And there was an additional card of the Five of Pentacles that came up with that process, and it's a feeling of disconnect and of not feeling. It's just not feeling like these ways of seeing things, or these filters, or these perceptions really do feel like they're diminishing your own sense of self-worth. There's this awareness of this. So this is all coming up for releasing now. And because we're in this energy of Sirius, you know, it's an incredible spiritual light. And when we bring in higher levels of spiritual light, it is also going to bring more awareness to the shadow material. It's going to bring more awareness to the things that are blocking us. It's going to help us to see and discern what doesn't work anymore, what is outmoded, what's, you know, how we need to move forward in our spiritual evolution and growth. So you're really having a sense of the mental process needing to change, that these old ways of working through things or seeing things just don't serve you. They really drain you and they make you feel disconnected, and it's almost you can feel isolated in the process. Okay, spiritually, you got the Sun card. So I feel like, well, I think there's a couple of things going on. One, I think that there is a realization of, you know, ego distortion, whether that's inflated ego or deflated ego, but, you know, like not seeing your goodness, or not putting things in perspective, not being able to own your spiritual light, or, you know, whatever perceptions. There seems to be not a full understanding of your connection to your spiritual self, and how all of these different qualities line up. But I also feel like there's going to be some breakthroughs in your conscious awareness around how to access your emotions, around how to work through your thoughts, so that you're not working against yourself. So I feel like there's going to be a breakthrough in consciousness. And, you know, you get the Sun card 2 times because you got it for healing yourself physically in a very concrete way, as well as, you know, in this deck, the Sun card once again. So I feel like you're also like on the verge of new spiritual awarenesses, but I feel like the path is clearing through these different channels of like your mind, your perceptions, your emotions, your feelings, and how you're embodying all of these frequencies. I feel like there's going to be, I think, you know, the Stargate is literally breaking through a lot of these different parts of yourself. When I look at what the downloads are for you, air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, I had 4 cards that came through for you. The first one was the Temple of Carnelian, and that's actually Lady Sekhmet, the goddess Sekhmet. And I feel that for a number of you, and again, this is general, so it's not for everybody, but for a number of you, grounding into some of the lower chakras is really, really important, into this place of self-esteem, into the sacral, into the solar plexus. Again, this is healing ego perceptions, inflated ego, deflated ego. I would say there seems to be a need for some receptivity to bringing in healing for self-perceptions and self-esteem. And Lady Sekhmet is all about stepping into your personal power and your self-confidence, and being very, very clear about the fact that you are a sacred spiritual soul emanating in this physical temple, and just the real deep ownership of your spiritual light, and healthy self-esteem. She's really, really all about that. She is the female Christ energy. So I would also say that whether you're masculine or feminine, there is a recalibration and an appreciation of integration of the female power, which is the right brain. It is the unconscious. It is the feelings. And just valuing that so much more. And I am also getting that, like, as you do this, it's going to be so much easier for you to physically manifest balance versus juggling, overly juggling. Because as you get more clarity and ownership around how you feel, then you are going to be able to be very clear with other people about your needs, and be taking your, stepping into your authoritative power and letting that be expressed in your physical life. So Lady Sekhmet is really downloading that for you right now, and she is very much part of the Egyptian tradition and the Syrian tradition. In fact, Sirius and Pleiades, they all are, all of the spiritual mystery traditions that they carry come from Lyra, which is the planet where the feline deities like Sekhmet and Bast come from. So your next card, air signs, was Cartouche, Names of Power. And, okay, I'm hearing ownership. I think that sometimes a spiritual name helps you to work with an energy that you would like to raise your vibration of yourself to, or have a name that is healing for you psychologically. And, if we're talking about ego distortions and low self-esteem and things like that, then it would make sense that a sacred name would be very, very healing for some of you. So this is a time where, for some of you, you're actually going to have the ability to sit with, in meditation, you could ask for a spiritual name that would be healing. This could also be like a sacred symbol or a talisman, or it could be a rune, and even like the tarot cards, like a major arcana, could be a sacred symbol to you that's healing to your soul, that's like embodying a certain theme that would be healing to you, because all images, colors, and so on are speaking directly to our right brain, and that's 95% of our brain function is the right brain, and it's the unconscious, and that's where really everything's at. Our conscious mind is only about 1 to 5% of our functioning, so all of the healing and recalibration really needs to be done in this unconscious material. That's when we get into quantum healing, and there's a lot there to uncover. But I feel like this is kind of where this Cartouche card is going, is that there's something that needs to be recalibrated in the unconscious material, probably old programs that you've inherited from your family, your schools, your religious institutions, somehow in the culture. You've gotten some, programs, some imprints around false perceptions or stories that, you know, really aren't true. It's not based in truth. The patriarchy is a lot about, you know, so many false perceptions and things that really are not based in truth. They're fabrications about like what it means to be masculine, what it means to be feminine. You know, true inner wealth is not just having a really, you know, fancy car. You know, that really has so little to do with our spiritual gold. So it's like really trying to heal those kinds of, you know, disconnects. All right, I'm going to move on to these other cards. So the Portal of Light, this is Isis, and this particular card is really about the star Sirius or Sothis coming through in the form of Isis, and I'm getting that for some of you, you're actually going to be having some awareness of your priest or priestesshood working with Isis most in particular, and I feel for some of you also Lord Horus will be coming through, you know, the son of Isis and Osiris. And of course, that would be a really powerful symbol for you because when Horus was young, he had a lot of health challenges. And so in the Egyptian tradition, it was a great omen to have, you know, anything to do with Horus would be that, you know, a sign that you would have the ability to recover from, you know, extreme health challenge or crisis. And I think that could be a powerful symbol for some of you if you are working on health, self-esteem issues or health issues at this time. The last card that came through, this also came through for the earth signs. And it is it is entering the chamber of healing. So I think some of you will be called to meditation and some healing work. I'm getting, you know, maybe working with a spiritual guidance counselor, some shamanic journeying. I'm not getting per se soul fragmentation, although for some of you there may be some soul retrieval, but there's definitely something at a deeper level to integrate and heal. And of course with the emotional intelligence, that's where the real more depth work is for you guys. Looking at the manifestation of union between Isis and Osiris, reunion with the beloved, and so the soul birth that comes from that. How does that manifest for you guys? How does it manifest for the air signs? Well, this deck is the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild, and one of the first cards that came out was Dark Night of the Soul. So I feel that you know, there is spiritual light revealing, and there's spiritual light being supported or supplied to you through Sirius. But I think that you guys are being shown that you're going to be doing this kind of work, you know, entering the chamber of healing. I think, you know, and again, this is a portal. This is where you are, you know, you're being born again and born into another level of consciousness, another level of life and life force healing. I feel like that you're going to be going in and out of these phases of going into healing, bringing back more conscious awareness and integration, and then having you know, more layers to get to, because when we're talking about the emotions, you know, that is a complicated thing, and it's not like you know, habitual thinking in the mind. This really has to do more with the unconscious material and those programs. So I think that you could find yourself engaged in some more regular work with clearing unconscious programs and kind of healing the emotional life. a lot of you are experiencing numbers, and that is an indication that you're experiencing different timelines simultaneously, and different levels of consciousness are being downloaded to you. And that would be supporting your healing right now. And that would be supporting sort of rewiring your brain and changing your perspective, or being able to heal the filters that you see through, so that you're not so blocked. So this is something you're seeing now, you're going to continue to see, and just being open to these number vibrations. They are actual vibrations activating and bringing healing to you. Because of your being air signs, I feel like these are going to be activations for your crown chakras and your third eye, and really all you need to do is allow them. They will do the work for you. They will do a lot of that work for you. So just receive it and trust it. Initiation by water. And I feel that actually engaging in maybe an Epsom salt bath, and really blessing the water as the tears of Isis, and allowing yourself to be cleansed and opened to your emotional life and your feelings more. I feel like that by some way of really actively engaging this, there is a way through and a way forward to ground into your feelings in a safe way, and kind of heal the disconnect that seems to be going on for some of you. So initiation by water is really part of the way to bring this healing into your conscious awareness. And then the last card that we got for you guys is Life Path, and I feel like for you guys it's not going to be something that's apparent right away. I feel like for the air signs, this is something that's a little bit further out. Like I want to say 3 to 6 months, but for some of you, this is actually like the area that needs healing transformation to be addressed. And I think for some of you, you're going to get traction. It's really going to change your perspective. It's really going to change hearing everything, and it's going to transform your work and whatever it is that you have been doing. There are a number of you that are going to have a radical career change, for example, a radical waking up to where you are and where you need to be, and that there's a huge distance there, and a real radical about face in terms of your work and what you're doing, what has meaning for you. For some of you, there's going to be a profound awakening and transformation in what you're here to do, what you came here to do, or what you perceive of it. So air signs, I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And so, if you want a more personal reading, get in touch. I'm at motherhoodoflight@gmail.com, and it's down in the description beneath the video. You can find me also on Facebook at Anahita Aurora, and you can find me on Tribe of the Auroras. Thank you so much for joining me. This concludes the Sirius Stargate reading series for this year, for 2018. I should be back in a couple weeks for the epigeminal birthdays for Isis and Osiris. That will be like starting on the 14th with Osiris's birthday. So we're going to be doing some divination around that. But until then, I hope you guys have an amazing time integrating this beautiful stellar energy, this cosmic energy. If you have any questions, be in touch. And please like, subscribe, share, and if you have any feedback, I would love to hear from you. So thank you, friends. It's been my pleasure. Enjoy this incredible stellar energy, and we'll be back. We'll see you around in a couple weeks. Bye for now.